Cars are the most expensive item that we buy that goes down in value. And we generally start buying them at a pretty young age. So figuring out how to buy a car the right way is important to all of our financial futures. Welcome to Lord Finance, a channel where you can learn about investing, debt, retirement, and many other general financial education videos. So if any of those topics sound interesting to you, or if you want to learn how to better handle your money and have more financial freedom, be sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell to be notified every time we upload a video. So today we'll be going through a rule of thumb that's been thrown around a lot for buying a car. It's called the 20-4-10 rule, and in today's video, we're going to talk about what the 20-4-10 rule is, when it should be used, give our thoughts on the rule, and then talk about some possible alternatives for saving up for a car. Let's get started. So what is the 20-4-10 rule? It is a rule of thumb to help you try and figure out how much you should be spending on a car purchase. It basically goes like this. You must put at least 20% down on your car, you must finance the car for no more than 4 years, and you must keep the total monthly vehicle expenses, which include the principal and interest payments as well as insurance, under 10% of your gross income. So, for example, let's say you had a $60,000 a year household income. This means that your monthly gross income is about $5,000. If you were to follow the rule of thumb when looking to buy a new car, you would, therefore, need to keep your total monthly vehicle expenses under $500. On the one hand, this is nice because it does limit you to a certain extent when buying a new car. It does force you to at least put something down on the loan, and it does shorten the length of the loan, at least in comparison to the average car loan, which is between 5 and 6 years long. This means that your monthly payments on the car are likely going to be a little bit higher than for someone else buying the same car but having a longer loan period, so it makes you a little less likely to buy a car that you can't truly afford. Let's take a look at an example. Let's say that Dan took out a $25,000 car loan and didn't follow the April 20th, 2010 rule, meaning he didn't put the 20% down on the car. So he has a $25,000 loan charging him, let's say, an interest rate of about 4.4%. His loan term is 60 months, 5 years, and his monthly payment is about $465. He pays nearly $2,900 in interest over the course of the 5-year loan, or a little under $50 a month on average. That's all fine and good. What if Dan followed the April 20th, 2010 rule? His loan would have been for $20,000 because he would have made a $5,000 down payment and the loan would have lasted 4 years instead of 5. This means that assuming the interest rate was the same, he would have a monthly payment of $455 and would pay about $1,850 in interest. But it gets even better. Because he gets out of debt a full year sooner, he may be able to take that 5th year to start saving toward his next car purchase. If he did that for the 5th year, putting $455 a month in the bank and assuming absolutely no interest whatsoever, he would have $5,460 in his savings account just waiting for his next car, which is more than enough to make the down payment he made for his current car. So you can see that it makes a decent amount of difference. Using this rule is certainly better than using no rule at all. So if you're in a situation where you just don't really have a guide to use for figuring out how much you should be spending on your next car, then certainly give this rule a look. However, it doesn't sound like the best rule to be following most of the time. While it does limit the amount of time you are spending in debt with a car loan, it doesn't actually eliminate the need for a car loan in the first place. Now, if you're in a situation where you absolutely need to get a new car because you don't have much time to plan out your next car purchase, because it has to happen very soon, then by all means, use this rule again. It's better than having no rule at all. If you do have a little bit of time in between your next car purchase, then ideally what you would do is save within your current budget so that you can start saving money to buy a decent short-term used car in cash. Let's say you were going to follow the 20-4-10 rule like Dan did in the previous example. We'll even use the same numbers as before, meaning that John currently has $5,000 in the bank ready to make a down payment. But if he were to, instead of making that down payment, use that money to buy a $5,000 used car and thus eliminate the need to have a car payment at all, how much of a difference would that make over the next 4 years? Just like John's previous example where he had a 4-year $20,000 loan charging him a 4.4% interest rate, he would have a monthly payment of $455 a month. And over the course of that loan, he would pay almost $1,850 in interest. However, if he were to go and get the used car and not have a car payment, he would be able to save that $450 a month towards his next car purchase. Meaning that every single year that he managed to keep that used car running, he would be able to put away $5,460 towards his next car, If he had enough time to shop around and found, just for example say, a good used Toyota for 5 grand that had maybe 150,000 miles on it and took care of it, he might be able to get it last 2, 3, maybe even the full 4 years depending on how well it was taken care of beforehand. And this isn't an ad for Toyota and they're not sponsoring the video, it's just that they are generally known to run pretty well for a fairly long time if you take care of them. But if the used car managed to last for 2 years, that means he would have roughly $11,000 in savings for his next car purchase. If it lasted 3 years, he would have roughly $16,400, and if it lasted the full 4 years, he would have roughly $21,900 for his next car purchase. Depending on what kind of car he wanted to buy next, that very well might be enough to purchase it in cash. Now obviously there are other variables that can come into play when making a car purchase, such as resale value and maintenance costs on a vehicle. But if you're looking at getting a new car, you already have maintenance costs for your current car. Would the used car immediately have more monthly maintenance costs? Maybe. It depends on what your current costs are and how good of shape the used car you're looking at is in. But even if it is, it's not going to be $400, $500 a month more in maintenance costs than what you're currently paying. That's all for today. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed this video.